Thank you everyone for joining us today. This is going to be a great webinar with RetireFlo and Advanced Diabetes Supply. And my name is 𝗁𝗵𝗶𝗀 with IAD. If you don't already know who I am, you can reach me or Tammy at IAD. My extension is 128. And then hers is 129. If you have any questions about this webinar afterward and need to get a little assistance, that would be great. And so, like I said, thank you all for joining us for RetireFlo and Advanced Diabetes Supply. Just want to go over some housekeeping before we get started. So our Q&A on your screen, it should be at the bottom. If you have any questions, please enter them in there because everyone will be muted during this presentation. So the recording will be available later, probably this week or next week. I could also send it out to you guys more immediately than that. If you would need it, just give me a holler. And so we will go ahead and get started. And we have Dalton from RetireFlo and Laura from ADS, Advanced Diabetes Supply, because we all love our initials and, you know, everything. So I always say ADS, but anyway. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to them and we'll get started. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us on. I couldn't be more excited about this. I have the privilege of working with FMOs, agents, agencies, NMOs, insurance carriers across the country. And there are people who are prepared or getting prepared for this annual enrollment period with changes coming from the Inflation Reduction Act. And then there's people who are going to get swept. People are going to get caught left behind. There are FMOs and agencies who are providing thoughtful ideas well in advance of October 15th to help agents in this process. And then there are FMOs who don't do that. IAD is not in the second box. They're clearly in the first box. This is our second training with the IAD team. So I'm thrilled to be on here, and just know that you are well served by your FMO. Not all FMOs are created equal. And I've just been very, very impressed with the IAD team. I've had some discussions with Tammy as well, and she's been great. So before I get started, I'll give you a little background on me and who we are and what RetireFlo is and how we work with ADS. My name's Dalton. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I went to the Ohio State University. Please do not hold that against me. I don't know where many of you are tuning in from, but I come from an agency myself. I started working for my dad's Medicare agency about 5 years ago. We're a small LOA shop just north of Columbus and Dublin. And we've got about 7 or 8 writing agents on our team. Depends on the year, but my dad's been at it for a very, very long time. So sometimes I joke with him. I call him a little bit of a fossil. I called him that this morning, so I promise I'm not speaking out of turn. But he's been at it for so long that our agency has grown to serve approximately 23,000 seniors with a Medicare Advantage or Medicare supplement policy. And we are really proud to do that. It's a lot of people, but we created a little problem for ourselves. And that problem was all of our clients would call us every AEP and ask us the exact same question, which is, Joe Namath says there's something better out there. What you got? Or am I still good on the plan that I'm on? And the call volume was growing to be so crushing that we were either going to have to hire a call center or additional payroll to manage it, or we were going to develop something. And we developed this product that you're going to see here today. And when we did, we realized that we not only created a very cool retention tool that remediated our issue, but also a very cool new business tool as well. So we boiled this down to the basics. This is what everybody on this call does every single day. It's what we do with Medicare agents across the country. If you're going to sit in front of someone and provide them with plan options, what do you need to know about them? Whether they're T65, retiring, or already on Medicare and want to review their plan, got to know these 5 things. Got to know their prescriptions, their doctors, their hospitals, their pharmacies, and then some key lifestyle preferences. Do they want to pay copays when they go to the doctor? Do they want to retire in Florida? Those kind of things. Would they like their prescriptions delivered to their home? But these first 4 are very, very sensitive data points. And what we see from agents across the country, and look, I'm not the police, I'm not telling anybody, but they're just exchanging these things in non-secure ways. They're doing it over text or email, or worse, they buy a bunch of stamps and they send out a big letter in advance of the annual enrollment period. And look, it's 2024. There's got to be a better way. And then, ladies and gentlemen, these folks show up. And I'm very proud of this slide, the way these TV commercials come in all ominously like this. I was on with an agent in Southern California not too long ago who told me that my glasses reminded her of Medicare Martha, which hurt my feelings, okay, because that's my #1 arch nemesis in life. But these TV commercials are the worst. They're so patronizing. They're so misleading. They talk about the shiny benefit, right? To drum up call volume. But we know as agents and good stewards of our clients, what good is a shiny benefit if the doctor you've been going to for 20 years is not a network? So we wanted to develop something that better connects agents with their clients, gets seniors the answers quicker, so no one calls these people anymore. So what did we do about it? We created RetireFlo, and what RetireFlo is at its core is it's a set of online surveys that you can send to your clients and prospects in advance of a meeting. On our surveys, the font is humongous. It asks one question at a time. It's incredibly easy for seniors to complete. And when your senior clients or prospects, who I'm going to call Susie Senior today, complete your survey, you get 3 things. 1, you get a list of Susie Senior's prescriptions, doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. On those prescriptions, they're spelled correctly every time: dosage, quantity, frequency, package, brand of the generic, everything you need to run a quote for Susie. On those prescriptions, we're even going to notify you if they might indicate that that beneficiary is diabetic and help you get connected with our partners at ADS, who we're going to be talking about here in a second. The second thing you get, because our survey has been approved by CMS, is in the federal government's eyes, you now have achieved permission to contact with Susie. So works great for your new clients. And then lastly, the final question in our survey is a scope of appointment form. And there's a lot of services out there that provide scopes, and that's okay. But the reason we do it is because, let's say you're meeting with Susie next Thursday, you got an appointment on the books. You say, hey, Susie, I'm looking forward to our appointment. I need you to complete this survey by next Tuesday. That's going to give you a compliant scope, which is great. But more importantly, it's going to give you those drugs, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies at least 2 days in advance. So you can do all of that planned research, show up with locked and loaded quotes in hand. And to most agents, that just means more one visit closes. And when your clients or prospects complete that survey, you're immediately notified via email. You log on to RetireFlo. You've got a secure PDF summarizing all of your beneficiaries' data to go out and begin running quotes. Now, there's a couple of things I want everybody to be cognizant of how our system works. What you get when you sign up for RetireFlo is a website. That's where your survey lives. So I'll pick on Laura. Let's say Laura was a writing agent. If Laura were to sign up for RetireFlo, her website would be retireflo.com/Laura. That's it. No big long URL, nothing you got to copy paste every time. Short, sweet, to the point. And what's cool about that is the ways that you can distribute it. You can text it to your clients. You can email it to your clients one at a time. Email it to them in bulk in advance of AEP, which I'm going to talk about. Post it on social media, link it on your website, turn it into a QR code that you flash up at the end of an educational event. Doesn't matter. And wherever your senior clients click on this, on their phone, their tablet, their iPad, their computer, their Kindle, it's going to look incredibly professional on whatever device. We work really hard on our mobile versions, so that way these senior clients feel comfortable sharing some fairly sensitive data with you. And we've integrated Connecture's API tools into our survey. And that's just a long way of saying that when Susie gets to the question, what prescriptions do you take? When she types in the letters LI, Lipitor is going to pop up. And then we're going to ask her, do you really mean that you take the generic atorvastatin? If so, in what dosage, quantity, and frequency? So we're going to provide to you incredibly accurate snapshots of Susie's health regimen, oftentimes several days before you've ever met her. Our survey has been approved by CMS via the health plan management system, but we're also HIPAA compliant, so you can feel comfortable exchanging this data with your folks. But a couple of fun things about RetireFlo. Our surveys are sticky as all get out. And I say they're sticky because if Susie Senior is going to take the time to answer your questions, she's not going to call Joe Namath. She's not going to call the agent down the street. No offense to them. She's going to work with you because your logo and your headshot are going to chase her throughout the survey saying, hey, I'm your agent. I'm asking you these questions to provide you with plan options. So Susie knows, look, if I put good in with my agent, I'm going to get good out. And then it doubles as a liability protection mechanism. And I don't know if it's happened to anybody on this call. It's happened to me. You meet with Susie and she tells you that she takes a 𝗺vastatin and Advair. Those are her 2 prescriptions. You enroll in a plan, everything's fine. 6 months later, grievance filed against you from her insurance company that says you didn't do a good enough job explaining whether her Eliquis was covered. And you're like, Susie never told me she took Eliquis. You know, our senior clients are forgetful sometimes. It happens. Now with RetireFlo, you've got a CMS approved timestamped record of Susie Senior's answers to those questions. So you can send this document in and say, hey, here are the drugs Susie told me she took, and make that grievance unfounded. Last thing and best thing about RetireFlo, the reason why we are a new business and retention machine is that Susie Senior does not have to have a username or a password or a code, none of that stuff to complete the survey. All you have to do is simply send Susie the link. She clicks on it. She completes the questions. She's done. You've got everything you need to begin doing all of that plan research for her. And to give you some context about how many you can expect to get back, we had an agent here in Ohio, where I'm from, send this out to all 2,000 of his clients last AEP on September 15th. September 15th is a Friday. He sent this email out at 5 p.m. in the evening. Email reads, hi folks, it's AEP. It's your agent. I'm proud to serve you. If you'd like me to review your plan, please click here and complete the survey. Over the weekend, the guy does nothing. He watches Ohio State beat Notre Dame, goes for a walk with his wife. I went to Ohio State. Shows up to his office on Monday morning. 200 submissions on his page from one email just 2 days later. He sent that same email 4 more times. He got 936 submissions before October 15th. That is 936 people that agent did not have to listen to try to spell levothyroxine over the phone or worried about getting a signed scope. He sent 5 emails and half his book was taken care of. So that's what RetireFlo is designed to do. And with that, I am going to do a quick walkthrough of our services. And I'll give you an example survey. So I'm going to head over to, retireflo.com/Dalton. This is my survey. Imagine this is your survey. It's white labeled with your logo and your headshot. It's got your hometown, your state licenses, links to your social media. That part's optional. So if you don't have any social media, that's okay. And then we've got a built-in automatic Spanish translator here, which I think is pretty neat. All the beneficiary has to do is click Espanol and it automatically translates everything into Spanish. I like this feature because I don't speak Spanish at all, but RetireFlo does it for me. As I go through this survey, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind, this looks just as good on a phone or a tablet. I'd argue it looks better on a phone. And the reason I bring that up is because we just did a study, 65% of our submissions are taking place on a smartphone. We process tens of thousands of submissions and 65% of them are happening here. Seniors are getting better at this than they are their computers at home. Just a quick anecdote that we've discovered. But anyways, I'm going to go through the survey like I'm Susie Senior. So, hey there, I'm your name. I've got some questions to provide you with plan options. What's your name? Susie Senior. And our survey is very intuitive. And then it's going to take Susie's name, kind of narrate the survey on your behalf. Hey, Susie, let's get started. We're going to ask her for her email, susiesenior@aol.com. And folks, all of our questions are optional. So if Susie doesn't have an email, that's okay. She can skip it. We're going to ask her for her address. I'm going to type in one near me. And when Susie selects her address, it's going to auto-populate with her zip in her county. So she doesn't have to type it, but you're still going to capture all of that data. And that data is actually going to power some of the searches we've got coming up. We're going to ask her for her phone number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're going to learn about her preferred pharmacies. She can add up to 3 pharmacies here. And in our search, it's going to take that zip, auto-populate it. So let's say Susie goes to CVS. Here's the closest one to her, right there at the top. But maybe Susie goes to a local pharmacy. Here in Ohio, we got a lot of Kroger's. I'll look for Kroger. Boom, here it is. So even your local pharmacies will populate no matter where you are in the country. She can add up to 3 pharmacies here. Then we're going to take a look at her current prescriptions. We're going to remind her, go get your prescription bottles. This part's important. Sorry, I got a question coming in there in the chat. We're going to remind her, go get your prescription bottles. This part's important. We've all met with too many seniors who go, I left my list of drugs at home. Do I need that? You're like, yeah, that's why I told you to bring it. Or worse, I've seen beneficiaries who bring in a giant bag of pills in advance of a meeting. Not a problem here. We're gonna remediate that issue for you. We also remind Susie that we're not particularly interested in her vitamins, supplements, or over-the-counters. Thanks, but no thanks. So let's say Susie takes Lipitor. She types in the first couple letters, it pops up right at the top. Then we ask her, do you really mean that you take the generic atorvastatin? Let's say she does. Then she's got a drop-down menu, available dosages. And when she selects that she takes that 40 milligram tablet, we're going to suggest to her a common user quantity and frequency. In this case, that's 30 tablets a month. But maybe she takes 90 tablets every 3 months. She can edit those fields. But let's say Susie takes a prescription that doesn't come 30 pills a month. Let's say she takes Ozempic. That might indicate that she's diabetic, right? Stay tuned. When she selects her dosage, it's going to auto-populate down here with the package. So you're going to know, oh, this is an injectable. This is an inhaler. Something comes in non-traditional means. But lastly, let's say Susie takes Synthroid, another popular one among seniors, but this time Susie forgets to tell you about her dosage. Tries to keep moving through the form. It's going to stop her. Say, hey, Susie, I'm going to need that dosage if I'm going to do a nice job for you, providing you with plan options. So once she adds that dosage, she can now proceed through the survey. All of her information is correct. We're going to learn about her doctors and her hospitals. We're going to ask her for her preferred hospitals. She can add her hospital here. She lives in Columbus, Ohio, so I bet she goes to the Ohio State University Hospital System. There it is. But let's say Susie doesn't always live in Ohio. Let's say she winters in Florida. She types in her hospitals in Florida, and they're going to populate here. So wherever she goes to the hospital in the country, it's going to populate. This is a list of every hospital in the United States that accepts Medicare. She winters in Arizona. She can add a hospital there as well. Then we're going to ask her about her doctors. No drop-down menu here. No drop-down menu here. Just your headshot saying, hey, I need first and last name. That's important. So she sees Gregory House from the TV show and Meredith Grey from Grey's Anatomy as her cardiologist. She can add as many specialists as she'd like. Then your headshot says, hey, let's wrap this up. Here comes the scope. And what the heck is it? Kind of a scary, cumbersome thing for seniors, right? Not our scope. Super clean, easy, highlighted and glowing where Susie needs to initial. She initials. Oop, my typing's bad today. She's going to leave this ancillary one blank just for fun. So you can see what happens. Maybe she forgot to initial it. She picks a signature that best represents her, and then she tries to sign and complete. Uh-oh. I call this the guilt box. We popped this up just to remind Susie, hey, we noticed you didn't complete the scope. And that's okay. You can continue on, but we're only asking you this to provide you with plan options. You're not signing your life away. So we're going to encourage her to go back and complete that scope. She does, and when she does, she gets this nice screen from you that says, your name from your agency will contact you soon. Now, instantly, my phone just buzzed. I got a notification in my email that says, hey, you got a new submission on RetireFlo. Log on and check it out. So I head over to retireflo.com. I log into my profile, and it says, welcome Dalton, or welcome your name. And I head over to my submission center. And what do you know? Here she is right at the top, Susie Senior. You download it, and this is what you get on Susie. your logo at the top, a perfect, secure summary of everything she just shared. Name, address, county, email, zip, phone number, preferred pharmacies, prescriptions, dosage, quantity, frequency, package. See this gray box over here? Laura, this is your cue. I'll come back to you in a second. This is a really important gray box here, but prescriptions, dosage, quantity, frequency, package, hospitals, doctors, and then at the end, a signed, dated, initialed, compliant scope, timestamped with Susie Senior's date and IP address. We leave this agent section blank at first because we find that most agents are never asked to produce a scope anyway. But if you ever wanted to sign it, you can always do so here in your RetireFlo Submission Center. You sign it here and forever modify the document. Let's say you use RetireFlo and you get 100 submissions this fall. You can always export those into a CSV or Excel file and upload them into your CRM. Run a report of all of your clients who take lisinopril, et cetera. So all that information is here for you in bulk if you need it. How much does this thing cost? Good question. For everybody else, there's a gigantic but coming. So for everybody else that doesn't work with our friends at IAD, it costs $49.99 a month to have a survey. You get unlimited sends, unlimited submissions. Doesn't matter how many Susie seniors go through it. It's $49.99 a month. It's a great way, I would argue personally, the best way to get prepared for what could be the most tumultuous annual enrollment period we've ever seen. But here's the but. Y'all get promo code IAD40, all caps, for 40% off. You get access to our service, unlimited sends, unlimited submissions. IAD40 is not going away. It's locked in. The price will not change, will not go up. We're very, very proud of our relationship with IAD. So you get access to our service for 40% off, which is pretty cool. So with that, I want to just back up a couple of steps and talk about our incredible partnership with Advanced Diabetes Supply. You noticed that I was talking about that gray box. Collecting beneficiaries' prescriptions is something that's not easy. We find that RetireFlo is a fantastic way to do it. I think it's the best way to do it, of course, but we want to empower agents with more data on their beneficiaries. And oftentimes I meet with agents around the country who say, you know, I want to do a nice job in providing sort of be that person, be that resource for my beneficiaries. And a great way to be that resource is by providing assistance and thoughtful guidance with their prescriptions. And how they interact with their plan and how they can get them more affordably. And so that's why we teamed up with ADS. So built in to our system, automatically, without any additional action from you, we automatically notify you when a beneficiary shares with you that they take a prescription that might indicate that they're diabetic. And this box here that's powered by ADS takes you straight to the ADS team. And if you want to connect with somebody from their team, all you have to do is fill out your agent information and let them know, hey, I've got a beneficiary who has indicated they might be diabetic. What can you do to help? And with that, Laura, what can you guys do to help? If that's okay, if you're there.
I'm here. All right.
Yeah.
Great lead in.
I tried.
So
I tried to
excited.
do that.
Yeah. So this was awesome because I've known about this partnership, but I've never actually seen Dalton do his presentation. So what an amazing tool that they've put to the RetireFlo team has put together to make agents' life easier. And I like to think that ADS is going to do the same thing. So I'm going to share my screen.
Please do.
And we'll get started talking about Advanced Diabetes Supply and our agent support program. So we're all in the same business, right? Like Dalton, myself, we're all here to help support you and to help you grow your business. What we do, we are who's ADS? So I know I've seen a couple popular names, familiar names in the participants that I peeked at. But for those of you that don't know, we are a diabetes supply pharmacy. We work directly with Medicare agents, and we're nationally accredited. So we are a DME provider as well as a retail pharmacy. So that means we can bill Part B and we can bill Part D. Personally, I'm an account executive. I work with agents who live in Ohio, Michigan, DC, and Maryland. I don't have it on this slide, but since Dalton left it open, I am native to Ann Arbor, Michigan. Go Blue.
This partnership over.
That's always a hit when I'm presenting to Ohio agents, right? So I've been in the business side of healthcare for over 20 years, the last 5 working with agents selling Medicare. So this is my 6th AEP. And that means that I understand what your book of business means to you. I know your clients and the relationships that you've worked so hard to develop and keep, and what retention means to you and what the value of a referral. And so my focus is to support you in improving that retention and increasing referrals through a product like Advanced Diabetes Supply. We have a national team, and because we have to make the split somewhere, it's where your resident state is who the account executive that you work with. So I do take care of Michigan, Ohio, Maryland, and DC. If you're living in another state, feel free to connect with one of these people on this slide, or just shoot me a message. You're going to see my phone number at the end of this presentation, because I want to make sure that you and I are connected. So that's who we are. Now let's talk about the agent support program and how we work with you. So you identify your clients with diabetes and you send their information to ADS. It's that easy. So you're going to do that in a variety of ways. Obviously, with RetireFlo, they're going to make it super easy for you. It's going to tell you this is a commonly prescribed diabetic medication. So, and it's not always, we know that Ozempic is used elsewhere, but this is a great opportunity for you to ask your clients, do you test your blood sugar? And I'm going to talk about that a little bit more on further slides, but that is the #1 question on how to identify your clients with diabetes. So you identify your clients with diabetes, you send them to us, right? Next slide. Let's see. Here we go. Wait, where am I not sliding? Sorry, technical difficulties. Here we go. Let's try this again. All right. We provide the service for free, right? So no fee to the agent, no fee to the member outside of plan design. How does it work? You find your clients with diabetes. RetireFlo helps you with that. About 1 in 3 Medicare beneficiaries have diabetes. That's about 30 to 35% of your book of business, right? 50% of them are pre-diabetic. I found that stat when I was like, oh, this 2019 chart's a little outdated. Let me go see what's current. Current census has it at 2022, was from 2022. And that means not only is this 1 in 3 beneficiaries are having a diagnosed with diabetes still accurate, but 50% of them are pre-diabetic. And when you're pre-diabetic, you don't necessarily, unless you're making a significant lifestyle change at, 65, 66, 67, you got to be really intentional to come out of pre-diabetes and not have be officially diagnosed with diabetes. So really what we're talking about is a national epidemic, right? You can see the statistics from 2006 to 2019 and how those numbers have increased. Diabetes impacts more than 1/3 of your book of business. And you need a service that you can trust to help them. So how do you find your clients with diabetes? RetireFlo is going to help. But you also want to make sure you ask, do you check your blood sugar? That's simple question. And you're going to get a variety of answers. You're going to say, yes, I do. Or my favorite is, well, I'm supposed to. Or my doctor says I should, right? So I have a 74-year-old dad who's been a 25-year diabetic who refuses to check his blood sugar. So that's fun when I got into this industry. But so you've got a variety of clients who, yes, they know they should. Yes, they are doing it, or they're having to do it. They absolutely have to do it to sustain their lifestyle, their life. So testing your blood sugar is a key component. About 1 in 3 are going to answer yes. And those are the members we call for you, right? When your client gives you permission, you can share their information and we call them, right? So what we're not going to do is say, Mrs. Jones, I partnered with ADS. You should give them a call. This is a great service. What you want them to do is, or how we ideally want you to refer to us, is to let your client know we are going to call them, right? We want to be providing a service, not giving them something else they need to do, right? So when your client gives permission, we're going to call them for you. So you have to send it over to me, which is a very easy process, and we're going to show you in a minute. But we do believe that having this as a service is added value. That's going to increase your referrals. Like Kevin created these, my boss Kevin, and Dalton knows Kevin created these little little bubbles, which
That's got Kevin written all over it,
doesn't it? So, and I'm not as good with the graphics, so I always have to giggle a little bit at here. So what do? When we call your client, the ADS, reminder that the ADS team is calling your client on your behalf. We're mentioning your name when we set them up for home delivery. It's, hi, Mrs. Smith, your insurance agent Dalton asked me to give you a call to set you up for home delivery. Do you have a few minutes to chat? Every time we talk to your member in that enrollment phase, we are mentioning your name, increasing the familiarity they have with you, the relationship that you've built, and the trust that we're setting up, right? ADS calls all come from one specific number. This is a very specific agent referred line. We have hundreds of agents that sit out in our Carlsbad, California office, but we have a small team. I mean, it's small, relatively speaking, but we have a team that is specifically dedicated to agents, and they understand the agent relationship and the importance to that member. So when a member calls that line, or they get a phone number from that line, or they get a call from that line, your name is being mentioned every time. Or we're asking Mrs. Jones, or let's go back. Say they didn't, they said, no, I don't want them to call me. I'll call them. And they do call in. We're going to ask them, who is your insurance agent? So we really want to make sure it's a vital piece to our success, our collective success, to have your name attached to that client, so that together we can serve them, increasing your retention, increasing your customer satisfaction. And I love that Dalton pulled out the sticky client verbiage, because we use that too. A happy client's a sticky client, right?
Great.
So this phone number is what we're going to be calling from if you want to take a screenshot of that. I think it'll be further in the presentation too. So what do we do next? Once we get that enrollment, once we get the referral, we're going to talk to your member, and then we're going to work to get the prescription from their doctor's office. We're not going to, the member doesn't have to do anything beyond that, right? We're going to work to get the prescription from their doctor, and we're going to do that before their plan starts. Now, if the member's already on a plan and they're having challenges, or you just reviewed with them, we can absolutely do it after the plan starts. But in this pre-AEP, or in this AEP period, where we know, or when you have a T65 and you know that their plan is not starting for a couple weeks or a couple months, that gives us a ton of time to gain an advantage and get the prescription from their doctor's office. Once we get the prescription, all it matters is the only thing left to do is have that plan go into effect. We verify and bill the insurance properly, because again, this is all we do. We do diabetic testing supplies, right? Because of that laser focus in one area, our expertise is unmatched. You can trust that your client is never going to be charged when they shouldn't be. We're going to send a 90-day supply directly to your client. Again, this is no charge to you. It's no charge to the client, unless it's by plan design, which we'll talk about in a little bit. All right, so that was a lot of information about the service. Let's just talk a little bit about the supplies we can send to our clients. For the sake of time, I'm going to slide through these pretty quick, because I want to leave some time for questions. But what supplies can we send to my clients? All right, you don't have to remember any of this. That's what we're here to do. You just need to know you have a member with diabetes, we can help, right? But FYI, put it in the back of your mind, every diabetic needs a way to test their blood sugar. Glucometers, test strips, Lancets, lancing device. That's the standard kit, right? If somebody's testing their blood sugar, you're newly diagnosed, these are what you need. You take the lancing device, you load a Lancet into it. I'm using my hands, but you guys can't see me. You load a Lancet into it. And then you prick your finger, put a drop of blood onto the test strip, and put the test strip into the meter. That gives you a blood glucose reading, right? It's covered by Part B. And it's always zero copays for Medicare beneficiaries, as long as it's formulary product. We've had a couple different brands here, and that's just to show we carry them all. So whatever's formulary for that member is what they'll be getting, and that's what they have a zero copay for. So if you have members, and I guarantee you do, you have members that are paying out of pocket for test strips at the retail level, and that's just wrong. They shouldn't be. Medicare Advantage, Medicare, it's all DME, it's all covered in full for blood glucose monitoring. The next greatest thing on the market is the wearable sensors. You've heard of the Freestyle Libre or the Dexcom G6 or G7 or the L3. These are continuous glucose monitors. They are worn either on the arm or on the abdomen, right? What it does is it reads glucose level from the interstitial fluid rather than blood. They wear the sensor for either 10 days or 14 days, depending on the brand. And in order to get a glucose reading, they're simply taking a smartphone or reader and flashing it over the sensor to get that reading and that immediate feedback. You can imagine the impact and the amazing quality of life that this allows for somebody who's having to test 4 or 5 times a day, right? Rather than having to get calluses on their fingers and carry around that kit, et cetera, et cetera. This is going to make it easier for them to maintain a healthy lifestyle, right? Some plans will cover this in full. And when we're talking about Medicare Advantage, of course, Medigap, there's going to be no out-of-pocket because that Part B 20% coinsurance is going to be covered by their Medigap. But some plans are assessing a 20% coinsurance. So you should know your member shouldn't be paying anything more than anywhere from $35 to $45 a month for sensors if they choose to go this route. So Medicare is covered, or CGM is covered by Medicare, but not everybody qualifies. So my dad, let's just use that as an example, is on metformin once a day. He does not like pricking his fingers, but he doesn't qualify for coverage under Medicare. A member needs to be injecting insulin at least once a day in order to be covered, to be eligible for this device under Medicare guidelines. The other caveat is just this hypoglycemic event. And we're not even going to talk about that because it's pretty rare. It's out there a little bit, but mostly you need to remember if somebody's on insulin, they qualify for a CGM. And honestly, you don't even have to remember that. That's my job. But just FYI. Then we've got insulin pumps and supplies. What you need to know here, if you see somebody with an insulin pump on your RetireFlo survey, just call me. Just know that you need to engage with an ADS advisor before you have that conversation, because there's a number of different metrics, a number of different questions and situations and scenarios that are going to impact the kind of plan that your member is going to want to choose. So let's talk about this preemptively. For the sake of time, I won't go into too many details, but insulin pumps and also Omnipods. Your member might refer to an Omnipod as a pump, but Medicare doesn't, which is another reason you need to know Omnipod and insulin pump. You call ADS before the appointment or during the appointment so that you and your member have all the information about Medicare coverage. When I promise you that we are experts on this, you can trust that we're going to help you ask the right questions to guide your member into choosing the right plan that fits their, again, we talked about lifestyle, or Dalton mentioned, you know, the lifestyle and whether they want to pay copays or if they want to just pay an out of pocket and be done, you know, et cetera, et cetera.
Laura, I didn't mean to, can I just add something here?
Sure.
You mentioned something, just talked about the ease of use of working with ADS. I can't stress that enough. RetireFlo is going to notify you, hey, this is in many cases, a diabetic prescription. All you have to do to help your senior beneficiaries deal with something that probably is a day-to-day burden for them is call Laura. That's it. That's all you got to do. You know, and what a incredible resource to have access to. Especially as folks are getting prepared and are managing lists of drugs. And, you know, I work with RetireFlo serves thousands of agents across the country. And the agents that I've talked to who have taken advantage of this partnership that we have, they say, I called ADS one time just to try it out. I'd never done it before. I'd never called Laura or one of the ADS team members. And I just wanted to see what that process was like. It was incredibly easy for the agent. It was incredibly easy for the beneficiary, and that beneficiary ain't going nowhere. So I can't speak to this enough, how the ease of use of this and how excited we are to team up with ADS.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that, Dalton.
It's true. It's true. I mean it.
Yeah. We are getting quite the reputation out there. In fact, where we go? It's on this slide here. 5,000 agents last year used ADS services. So we're really starting to gain some traction because agents are seeing the value. In fact, just less than an hour ago, I got a survey from the boss. I got some survey results from the boss, and over 30% of responding agents said they have seen new referrals from their diabetic members as a result of using ADS. So 30% of agents that use us, so 30% of 50, what's that, 1,500? So 1,500 agents said I got at least one new referral because of ADS. So if that doesn't sell it, right? So it's a lot of information, right? Take a breath. I'm going to take a breath. You have clients with diabetes. We call them for you. We make you look good. We send them the supplies. We do it for free to help your business grow. So how do we get started? New enrollments, you get that PDF from RetireFlo. You begin asking clients if they test their blood sugar at home. That's a really important question. I'll pause there because not everybody is taking every diabetic med for diabetes, right? So it's just an important question to just make sure you integrate that. You're going to get the pop-up that reminds you, hey, this is a diabetic medication. I need to ask my member that. But do you test your blood sugar at home is the one key way to know whether or not somebody needs supply support. And you're doing this anyway because this is the time of year, but review your last 3 to 6 months of enrollments and look for clients we can help. This refer a client link takes you right to my webpage that you can refer clients through. Also, the link that Dalton showed earlier takes you to North Coast, to ADS's website, which you can then get to refer a client from. But this one's direct to me. You can use a smartphone or your computer, take a picture with the QR code, and then I'm going to tell you right now, send me a text because I want to make sure that I connect with all dozen of you that are on this call. I'm going to call you by name. I see Ben and Bill and Carol and Cass and Greg and Anthony and Jack and Jamie and Joe and Warren, and I want to get text from all of you so that I can make sure to follow up that you've got my information and have that resource available to you. And with that, I'm going to look here. All right,
you got to text Laura. You know?
Text me. Text me right now.
Laura, I'm going to ask you a question. Then I've got one I'm going to answer after that.
Perfect.
The question was, if our client calls ADS and your representative is familiar with Advantage plan that they may be on, will you know how their plan will pay or not pay?
I personally, if you as the agent connect with me, I'll be able to give you that information.
Another reason to text Laura.
What's that?
I said it's another reason to text Laura right now.
Absolutely. So that is my area of expertise, right? So I've been in the diabetic community now for a few years. I've been doing Medicare reimbursement and coding and plan coverage and all of that for years. This is where the account executive and the relationship that you and I are going to have is going to benefit you. If a member calls to my customer service team to get enrollment or they answer that call, my team is not going to know that information right away. And they're not going to know until the plan starts. You and I can teach you where to look for it in the EOCs or in your evidence of coverage. It's all there. And if I don't know it off the top of my head, I do know a lot of them. Again, this is what I do all day, every day. But if I'm like, I'm not so sure about that one, let's double check. Or my client wants it in writing, let's go find it. So I personally, as your account executive, I'm going to be able to answer that question for you with plan specific information.
Very cool. Very cool. And Bill asked a question, I think, of RetireFlo here, and I'll read it out loud because I think it's a great question. Looks like a great tool. Is there any way to add our own custom questions? For example, to talk about plans or dental benefits or over-the-counter benefits? It's a great question, Bill. Unfortunately, with RetireFlo, our survey questions are locked, and they are for a reason. CMS requires us to keep them the way that they are. And I've actually, historically, we included questions like, about over-the-counter benefits. And one of the questions we used to have is date of birth. But there were some questions that CMS struck from us to remain compliant. While that is frustrating, it also works as the best backup sort of scenario for you because our survey has been approved by CMS. If you ever get that grievance filed against you, the report that you get on the back end is approved by CMS too. So it works as a backup functionality. Although there are some drawbacks to being approved by CMS, which I don't think are drawbacks, it's just a part of our job of being compliant and protecting agents. They did remove some questions from our survey. So those survey questions are locked, as you saw. I will say we have a multitude of different surveys at RetireFlo. We have 3 different surveys that I think are all pretty cool. When you onboard under RetireFlo, you'll get access to choose which of the 3 you'd like. What we went through today was Medicare Short. That's focused on the essentials: drugs, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies, contact info, scope, the goods right there. So it works great. It's probably our most popular survey. It's works great for your existing clients and your new. Our Medicare Long survey asks a couple of extra questions, like current health insurance. Do you have COBRA? Are you on Medicaid? Those kind of things. How familiar they are with Medicare. It asks for if they have retirement benefits like VA or TRICARE or a state retiree plan. And then lastly, it asks if they want MA or SUP. So that one asks a little bit of extra questions, really great on drilling down on focusing on your new prospective clients. And then lastly, we have our ACA survey. Our ACA survey, entirely different set of questions designed for ACA. It captures 5 major points. It captures dependent information, drugs, doctors, hospitals, pharmacies, income level, year of enrollment, smoking status, and then that one ends with the consent form. Those are all 3 are available to you. Each one of those is $29.99 separately with promo code IAD40, all caps. Sharon asked an awesome question. So we can begin using RetireFlo once we are signed up? Absolutely. It's instant. The moment you make that survey, Greg, you asked a wonderful question. I'm going to get to it. The moment that you give us what we need to make your survey, like your headshot, your logo, your name, your agency name, your state licenses, social media links, you choose your website. So let's say here, I'm going to pick on Sharon. Let's see if retireflo.com/Sharon is available if you wanted it. And then lastly, you put your work email down here, so that way you're notified when you receive a new submission. You press save, page is immediately live. You can begin distributing it to your clients and prospects. It's kind of like setting up a Facebook page. Greg asked a wonderful question. Is the data ours? Do you data mine? No way. This data is yours and only yours. Our service is HIPAA compliant, encrypted end-to-end by our partners at AWS Lambda. Not to geek out on you here, but that's the result. We can't see your submissions. We don't want to, but we couldn't if we tried. So that data is yours and only yours. This is not us selling data to, to companies who are going to call your clients. No way. That's part of the unique benefits of RetireFlo. Laura,
right,
we made a good team. Let's do this again sometime. That was awesome.
Yeah, I've got a couple questions. I got a couple texts from Greg. I got Jamie and I got Jack. So thank you guys for texting me. My information is still up there because I was hoping to get a few more of you, but maybe I already know you. And this was just a refresher. Jack did ask a question. He wanted to know if we work with agents that are not signed up for RetireFlo. Absolutely. Absolutely. RetireFlo is the latest and greatest, and it's amazing, and we love it. But you might not be ready for that commitment yet, which, Dalton will convince you eventually, but we absolutely work with agents who are not using that or are using other platforms. So definitely not a requirement. Good question.
Yeah, agreed. I will convince you over time. I just think, listen, life is too short to listen to Susie Sr. try to spell levothyroxine over the phone. Use RetireFlo. It's a low-cost way to get prepared for AEP, and we got this ADS partnership baked into it. We're to notify you every single time your beneficiary takes a prescription might indicate someone's diabetic. So very proud of our partnership with IAD, incredibly proud of our partnership with ADS. Really proud to be on here with you today. The last thing I'll share, and ADS is often poking around in here, but one of the benefits of signing up for RetireFlo is, and this is going to sound corny, but is our Facebook group. It's called Medicare Island. As a user of RetireFlo, you get invited to this Facebook group where we drop all of our exciting updates. It's agents in here asking questions of other agents saying, hey, I'm an agent in New Mexico and I got 50 submissions in a day. Here's how I did it. So we'd love to have you here on Medicare Island. You get invited as a benefit to join in our system. So with that, happy Thursday, everybody. It was a privilege to be on, and thank you for the time.
Thank you to both of you. Dalton, did you show that discount code already? I think you probably did, but if you would mind putting that up there again.
I would love to. I would love to.
'Cause
IAD
who doesn't
40.
love a discount?
Yes, I'll put it in the Q&A here too, or maybe in the chat. Let's see here.
I can send that out to everybody as well. So,
but it's that short, IAD 40, all caps.
yeah, piece of cake. Yeah, I'll still probably forget. So that's how it all happens, right? I was like, I know you showed it, but I probably blacked out or something. I don't know.
No worries. No worries.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much to both of you for joining us today, and all my attendees. I will get that recording sent out to you. And if you have any questions, just reach out to myself or Tammy. We'll be able to point you in the right direction for everything. So thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day today.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.